to be an investigator, to make sure that our deputies are telling the truth. We ended up bringing the suspect in, Dominique Griffin, brought him over from jail today and questioned him extensively. We were able to get a search warrant for his cell phone. In this cell phone, we were able to find specific information about his drug dealing habits, his transactions through it. Even more specifically, the pills that we found were described with Gucci on them. In his text messages, he describes pills with the Gucci symbol that he had on them. Mr. Griffin was interviewed extensively by our detectives here. I actually have to thank him. It's not often in law enforcement that we thank the suspects that we arrest. In this case, he actually showed a lot of remorse. He understood the officer that arrested him, referred to him by his first name, did not want him to get in trouble because he knew he didn't do anything wrong, and took ownership for the drugs that he had on him at that period of time. Mr. Griffin understood that obviously he's looking to serve a lot of time because he's been arrested and convicted of a whole lot of drugs and drug charges in the past, and obviously doesn't want to go to jail, and we understood that, but he also understood the gravity of this situation with the accusations that were being made. He made it very clear that that was not his accusations. The accusations being spread by the public in the video was not necessarily correct. He was, again, remorseful for not only the deputy that was accused of planting those narcotics, but also very remorseful to the deputy that he bit during the resistant arrest. He had charges yesterday from the resistant arrest and a battery on a police officer. As we previously discussed, there were no narcotics charges yesterday because initially on the scene, the pills that were tested did test negative. We have since sent them to our lab. Our crime laboratory today tested those medications, and the medications came positive for methamphetamine. He'll be whipped with the additional drug charges this afternoon, and I'll take any questions from y'all if you have any.
So why did the pills test negative for narcotics in the first place?
That is not unusual. The chemical compound of all kind of narcotics are made up different ways. So a preliminary field test is not as accurate as obviously our chemical test. Even on drugs that test positive on the streets, we still do the chemical test at the laboratory, which is the only evidence that is really allowed at the courthouse itself. So that is not something that's unusual, especially in that type of drugs, whether it's a methamphetamine or whether it's an MDMA, which is an ecstasy pill. So that is not uncommon that that particular pill wasn't registering in the field test that we use, but when tested, obviously, at our lab, it came back positive.
And what are Griffin's charges now?
Griffin's charges from yesterday, he had 2 counts of resistant arrest, 1 by force. He had battery on a police officer for biting, and now he has 2 counts of narcotics charges, scheduled 2 narcotics.
And what from investigating this situation happened when, I know a lot of people on the internet thought that the deputy was pulling something out of his pocket to put it down.
And I've reviewed that video. At no time did we see him pulling anything out of his pocket. Looks like he transfers it from the right hand to his left hand. His left hand is actually empty beforehand. The fact of it is it shows one view that is there. Even the suspect said he had possession of those pills. As I said, videos don't always show the complete picture of what happened. We can always make conclusions, and that's why I ordered the investigation, quite frankly. I mean, I wasn't on scene. My job is to order the investigation to make sure that our deputies are telling the truth. Their stories have always been consistent in this matter. And again, I got to thank Mr. Griffin for backing up and taking the charges that he knows was the right thing to do at this time. Anything else?
Can I ask something off subject?
Sure.
How's the curfew or the bar curfew? How's everything going in Jefferson Parish?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I have not received any phone calls of complaints at that point in time. From what I understand, most of the bars are obviously complying with that measure to stay closed at this period of time. We have enforcement action that we can take if we need to. We're going to play those on a night-by-night basis to see that's the case. I think people are understanding the seriousness of the coronavirus that's going around and understanding the tax that it's going to put on our healthcare system. We're asking people to stay home, and for the most part, people are doing that. If you have to go to work, we understand that. But we want to take away the social activities that arbitrarily just increase our risk a little bit more and keep those to a minimum, and I think that's happening well in Jefferson Parish.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
y'all. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it.
Thank you.